and safety tips, some gear that you need to take with you to make sure that your hiking trip is fun and relaxing, because that's what it's supposed to be, enjoyable. And it's very important to have those things when you get out, because if you don't, bad things can really happen. So while you're hiking, some of the safety tips is that is to always plan ahead. Kind of have an idea of the trail you're going to go to, the distance that it is, the ruggedness of the terrain, because that will determine what kind of shoes, amount of food and provisions you need to take. The weather, check out the weather, because you don't want to get up in the mountain and then it start raining. Know your environment. Anytime that humans interact with nature, there's always dangers. Animals, plants, know what's around in the area where you're going. Always carry out what you carry in, because if you carry in food supplies and you leave your waste behind, then it's not going to be as pretty for the next person to come through. And they may spend their time that they would have enjoyed the nature cleaning up your mess, and that's not good for anybody. Know where you can get medical care, because that's very important, because it's very easy to miss your footing, sprain your ankle, slip, fall, bust your head. So, and normally, almost always, at the beginning of any trail, there's always some kind of information board that will at least give you a number, and hopefully your cell phone will work, to call and get help. Never, ever, ever hike alone. My oldest daughter, my first husband, he actually died hiking a trail by himself. He fell, he slipped, and fell almost 40 foot, and was dead by the time he hit the bottom. So never, ever, ever hike alone, even if it's just for a little short thing. And always make sure that somebody knows where you're going that isn't with you. And it's very important to pace yourself. Take regular breaks. Make sure that everyone is drinking water, because a lot of times they'll talk and forget. It's on average that you want to take a sip every 10 to 15 minutes at least, even if you're not thirsty. Avoid sunburn. Just use precautions, hats, scarves, whatever, because whenever you're out, especially if it's a long day and it is real sunny and stuff, and you don't have a lot of shade, or you have a lot of open meadow area that you hike, you can get sunburned and you won't even realize it till you're home. And then your glorious day of adventure is ruined by a miserable night of awful sunburn. Always put the slowest hiker in front. Pace your group by that person, because then that person is not stressed, taxed, wore out. They're not lagging behind, missing everything on the sides and the view, trying to keep up with the people in front. And if you pace your group by the slowest person, then you will have more time, and it'll keep you, especially if you're a go-go person like my husband is, and when he hikes, he likes to hike it up and look at it coming back. And I like to look at it coming and going, because it's not always the same thing when you come back, if it's not a round loop, if you hike up and you hike back. But so that way you get more enjoyment out of the hike. Always start small. If you're a new hiker, or if it's at the first of the year and you're not used to hiking through the winter months, then start off with a small hike. Even though you think, well, I was doing 10, 15-mile hikes at the end of last year, but you haven't done anything for a couple months, then start out with a 1 to 2 hike, just so that you may breeze through it, but you may not. So if you just do that simple hike, then you kind of get a feel for what you can do on the next one. Know your water. We all have visions of drinking from crystal clear water that runs out and seeps out of the mountainside and everything. But even though it looks clearer and fresher than anything that comes out of a tap or that you can even buy in the store, it's loaded with bacteria. So make sure that you take plenty of ample water with you, or at least, and if you're not sure